It always comes to this. More nice shit. Morning guys, back into another tattoo progress update today. Where I last left off, I talked about my hand tattoo session with Rick, and I'd done a year-end 2024 tattoo progress wrap-up. Ironically, I'm still in 2024. Even when I made that video, I think I said I had 3 sessions left this year, but it's more about time and the ability to make these videos sometimes. For example, I snuck away this morning. It's 4:30. I'm making this. This is going to be the best time I have to do this today. And so I had the chance to make that video when I had the chance to make that video. And this is not my day job. I wouldn't recommend YouTube being anyone's day job or social media content of any kind, really. I think that that's a card house, and I've been very clear about that. Now, that year-end wrap-up will probably be going up in February, and I think this video will probably be closer to March. My vlogs are pretty far ahead. I keep them that way because like I said, I don't have a ton of time for these, so doing them that day is not an option for me. I think only children or people who do this full-time could have that sort of time. And when you're a father, a husband, and work, pretty much every day of your life, work out and, all these things, you want to have any time for yourself, and run several social media platforms. You do things when convenient and when accessible. With that said, if you want to watch these videos as they air or as they go up, you can become a member to support my channel. With that said, I don't expect anyone to, and I don't really care if anyone does. I don't make these videos to make money off of them. A lot of people don't know this, but in Canada, Instagram and TikTok are not even monetized. You can make some money through them through brand sponsorship deals and hawking products and shit, but I obviously have no interest in doing that. And my channel on YouTube, I get offers all the time to advertise things now, and I have zero interest in doing that. I think that if you're going to do this as a day job, hats off to you for thinking that's a good idea, but no one that was popular 5 years ago, and I've been around YouTube long enough to say this, is popular. Well, a lot of people that were popular 5 years ago aren't now. And it's because they attach themselves to trendy shit, or they sell out, or some other thing happens along the way, and people lose interest, or just oversaturation of the thing. I've seen ebbs and flows myself. People will dip in and out of things, especially anything long form. And so the idea that I would, lock my finances up in this is insane. And if I make any money in it at all, it's just bonus for me. Especially given the fact that I've seen so many social media platforms come and go. And then also, who knows what's on the horizon. It takes time to rebuild. I myself lost a 1.2 million TikTok following last year and a 220K Instagram following last year. So the idea that I would be dependent on this for an income is insane. And anyone who's doing that, I recommend having a fairly good backup plan, or at least having something you're investing the money you're making in social media into something else, because this will likely at some point fall through. Now, fortunately, cancel culture seems to be going away to some degree right now, but I don't think that the powers that can do that to someone on social media are going away anytime soon. And what's more likely is the reason or the pathology behind doing something like that to someone. The litigation or the rules about why that happens will change, but that will always be on the table for these platforms to simply remove you if you upset them in some way that is not explained to you on any level, by the way. With that said, I'm not going to dwell on this too long, but my hand tattoo didn't heal up the way that I had hoped it would. I'm not that surprised. Rick seems to be having a real fucking time putting color into my blackout hand. It's doing more or less the same thing as it did last time. Some of it isn't peeled yet, but from what I'm seeing, he's having an easier time getting the darker colors in, and the lighter colors are having trouble. And I did expect to need another pass on the color anyway, and the red, but it is what it is. And this is why so many people ask me if I'm planning on doing color on black fingers, even though I've expressly said I'm not. This is the reason why I'm not going to do that, because hands are hard enough to saturate color into that it's not worth the squeeze for me. That's not to say that it's impossible. It's to say that I don't want to do 10 sessions on my fingers, and it's not worth it to me. The look wouldn't be that much better, in my opinion, or more in line with the rest of it anyway. And so it's just not something I'm willing to get into. With all that said, I have another session coming up with Rick in a few days. I'm not actually sure what we're going to be tackling this time. There's a few things to check off the list, so could be doing the red again, or something up in my underarm, or I don't know. We'll see where it goes. On a more exciting note, for the people who are still watching, as I know some people dip out early on and they'll have already seen the thumbnail, and I don't really care. My wife finally tattooed me for the first time. I say finally. Some people think that she's the one that's been tattooing me all along. The trouble with getting her started in tattooing is, as soon as I did that, everybody assumed that all of my tattoos were free, and of course, most people don't pay any attention. But I've been getting tattooed by Rick and Terry for the most part for the last 5 years, and prior to that, it was another artist named Lee, and prior to that, it was 25 plus other artists, and I actually had another girl at the shop here tattoo me prior to Sarah, Ashland. She did the Nosferatu tattoo on my leg, and in truth, my legs are going to be used for all kinds of different styles by different artists, and there will be a few pieces by, say, Terry or Rick on my legs. Well, my legs are primarily going to be used for demonstrating further evidence that, first off, not just anyone can do this, but any style is applicable, and there really are no limits. For some reason, people seem to think that you could never do a realistic portrait over black, which is insane, because it's actually the thing that's most commonly done over black, and I would argue probably the thing that's easiest to do over black, requires the least work, and is for some reason the most impressive. With that said, Sarah and I went a completely different direction. I asked Sarah to tattoo me this year as a Christmas gift. She normally makes me a Christmas gift every year. She's been a lifelong artist, and so I always appreciate the handmade things more than store-bought things. Obviously, as adults, you know, or at least reasonably responsible adults, you can save up and you can get yourself almost anything you want. Within reason, obviously, not buying yourself a Lamborghini every second day, and if you are, you're probably an asshole. With that said, I appreciate the handmade gifts, and Sarah's been tattooing for a year now, and I've been watching her color saturation, and within a year, she's already at the place where I feel she can tattoo over black. Now, this should be embarrassing to 20-plus year tattooers that believe they can't tattoo over black. For whatever reason, it's not, and they will believe this is all superstitious nonsense, or that it's edited, or that it's not going to last, or any of these other stupid things that I've covered it to a large degree on this channel already. But here we are, and a year tattooer has punched in any color that we plan to over black fairly effortlessly, and I can guarantee you that it will be there when it heals, and it will be darker on a first pass. Now, it will be really, really easy to brighten it up, especially because we did all of the tattoo in a single session. It's very, very easy to go in now and brighten things up. So I'm going to go ahead and show that off now so that you get at least a little bit of an idea of what it looks like. Oh, where is it? I almost forget. So I'll see if I can. There you go. It's hard to show your legs off on a vlog. Really, really hard. So that's it. It's like a punchy trad guy. This is the second day, and it has changed a little bit since yesterday. But even from a distance, with my shitty camera abilities here, you can see very well the candy cane on my leg. I'm going to get into why we have a candy cane on my leg in a minute here. While I've got this down here, I'm going to show off the tattoo I got by Ashlyn that did not heal well. I don't even know if that's doing it. It's hard to see. But this is now 2 months healed, 1 pass, and that was a bad heal. And it's not finished either. We didn't even finish the first pass, but it's still clear as day. And so we will be getting back into that tattoo here next month, now that it's all the redness is finally gone. So if you've been waiting for more leg tattoos on the channel, there's going to be a lot more of them coming up. Sorry, fighting with the camera. That's why I don't like adjusting these things. I need a better tripod for this. I swear. Yeah, running a real rookie operation here for the guys that are claiming that this is heavily edited stuff. No. If you've ever seen one of my vlogs, you'll know that's horse shit. And I put about as much effort into everything else I make here at the shop. It's all front-facing camera on my iPhone in whatever light we have. And most of my stuff is taken either on the tattoo bed or outside the shop. We're not doing fucking high-res photo shoots and shit like this. So anyway, the candy cane took about 4 hours. Now, that seems like a lot. Maybe a little less than 4 hours. But we made sure to go slow, and she took her time, and she actually punched in the color fairly quickly. Lining took a little while. It was a little hard to figure out the stencil for her at first. I'm going to do a Remy Reacts where we talk about it from her point of view, because so many people want to hear from the artist, and I don't blame them for that, but there's really not much magic that happens here. People have asked me why Terry or Rick haven't been on, and neither one of them are very social people. If you met them, you would understand. Trust me, it's not a mystery. They don't really like to talk a lot to begin with, and social media is kind of a whatever thing for both of those dudes. So Sarah's going to come on Remy Reacts and talk about this from her point of view. But basically, we used the colors that I chose and knew how they worked. And every single one of those was picked out and discussed prior. And we used Red Nebula, we used Red Velvet for the darker red Nebula for the brighter red. And right now, both of them look about the same, but when they heal, they'll look slightly different. We know this already through countless experimentation done at the shop prior. Again, fusion white was used, and golden yellow was used for the yellow, and then sky blue was used for the blue. The blue was the one that I was surprised that she put in fairly easily, because the light blues have been a bit of a struggle for us here at the shop over black. They are doable. Obviously, we have them. Like, you can get them in there. Now, obviously, Rick has all kinds of different colors in there, so it's hard to see any one spot. But the light blues can be done, but they just take more effort. They take more passes. So I expect that the white and the light blue will darken a lot, and the other colors will be more, they'll be more muddy, especially for her first try over black. I was pretty impressed with how effortlessly she was able to saturate it. But I wasn't that surprised either, because anyone that can saturate color can do this work, and I've been saying this for years. So obviously she's done some color projects at the shop here, and I've been fairly happy with how they've been healing. So I figured that this year it was time for Sarah to tattoo me, and I didn't even tell her what I wanted. I just said, just design whatever you want. Now, she came up with the candy cane, and obviously I like Christmas, but that's not why the candy cane. People who've been following me for a very long time will know that one of my old leg tattoos was a blackwork candy cane. Why a blackwork candy cane? I had a dog named Kane and a cat named Candy. These are those things where I say all the time that meaning is only personal and no one else will ever understand. I don't really care. If you get tattoos that have meaning, that's fine, but don't expect anyone else to understand them. Now, you can explain them to them, and then they can have sentimental value, but most people are just going to see a big candy cane and wonder what the fuck I'm thinking. Has Remy lost his mind? No. That's just so you know, your black and gray lion is the same thing to everyone. It doesn't make sense that your grandpa was a warrior, so you got a lion for him. That doesn't intuit to other people. Just get the things that have meaning to you, and that's that. So anyway, Sarah designed a new candy cane to memorialize them, and we also added tags of 2 other animals. The M and the C are for 2 animals that I've had since, and that piece can be added to with more tags in the future for future pets. So it's kind of like a sweet little gift, and I kind of wanted to use my leg for these sorts of things anyway. Also to demonstrate, obviously, that, you know, you have an artist in your area that can do this. Sarah's only been tattooing for a year. It's not a question if this works. It's a question of if your artist has an open mind or not. That's it. So while I'm happy with her, and I'm proud of my wife for doing it, and obviously I have those kinds of warm, fuzzy feelings about my wife tattooing me and all this stuff. To me, it was a no-brainer. It wasn't even a question. It is actually healing, I think, better than the tattoo that Ashlyn did on me. Sarah took to color packing a little bit quicker than Ashlyn, and I think it's partly because she sees so much on Remy Reacts even, and she's been very observant around the shop of everything that's happened on me. She's been very kind of, she's been paying very close attention to what does and doesn't work in color. And so I think she's got more of a natural kind of bend towards doing it herself. Whereas Ashlyn was a little more afraid to pack that white into my leg. And even her black saturation took a little bit longer. Now, people will find the Nosferatu to be more impressive because it's realistic. But we're not grading fundamentals when we see these things. We're always just going stylistic. And for me, it's always substance over style. And I think that the candy cane is technically better put in than the Nosferatu. Now, with that said, that's not a knock on Ashlyn at all. It's just Ashlyn has taken it as a bit of a learning experience, and the next time that we pass the Nosferatu, it will be more solid than it was the first time. Partly because it's the second pass, but also because she's learned a lot from failure. And that's what you should always do as a tattooer. You shouldn't go into your shell. You shouldn't withdraw like a turtle into its shell when you see something go wrong. You should try and learn from it, right? And I think for Ashlyn, knowing that I get tattooed twice a week and I never have any trouble, I think she took it hard that it didn't heal particularly well. But for me, it wasn't like that. And in fact, if you watch the vlogs I made on it, I blamed myself more than her because I've been tattooed for long enough and I've seen this stuff enough to know that we were pushing a little too far. That's why Sarah and I went with a smaller one for my first one with her. Now, she's going to do some more tattoos on me, but she's not going to do all of my future tattoos. For the people who think, oh, well, now Remy's just going to get tattooed for free, and that's why he brought his wife into this. Now, I wanted my wife to do this 10 years ago. She's a natural artist. This is the industry she belongs in. There's a lot of artists that get into this, artists that actually aren't artists and shouldn't be in this industry, but they got into it because it seemed like easy money. Sarah's the kind of person where she would be doing this even if she took a pay cut for it, right? We need more people like that in this industry where they actually care about that and they care about the craft of it and the history behind it and learning all of it. She wants to be good at all styles. A lot of artists just want to do what they want to do. They just want to do, if you're a black and gray guy, you do black and gray every day. Whereas people like Terry, Rick, and Sarah in particular, I'll mention at this shop, and even we have another artist named Alex, they're all jack of all trades type things in various ways. They all do it differently, but they have an interest in doing every style, and there's no, I don't want to do that, I don't want to learn that, or that can't be done. There's none of those walls there, right? Real artists that get into this, I feel like, are the ones that will push the medium farther than the artists that just want to do their thing every day. And I get wanting to just come in and punch out, but checked out artists aren't going to move the needle. No pun intended. So with that said, when I show this off next time, it will be darker, but it will all be there. And I think on 2 passes, it will probably be where we want it to be. And I think it will only take about an hour to touch up all the color next time, because it's all in there. It's just dark. And so it doesn't need to be super bright. I think most of my leg tattoos are going to be between 2 and 3 passes. They're not going to be a super, interwoven and changed all the time like my torso, because I'm going for one-offs. And I got to tell you, there was something really refreshing about sitting for a tattoo and finishing a tattoo in a single session, because I don't need to remind you guys, I've had 80 sessions on this sleeve, Even my rose sleeve, the first version of it, was 10 sessions. I think we've probably done 10 since. My neck, how many times did I tattoo my neck over the last few years, Everything I do is multiple stages and multiple passes, and has changed so much that there's something novel about just going and getting a tattoo. And that's what most of my leg tattoos are going to be. Eventually, I'll build them all together with the background of dark red, but they're all going to be one-offs for the most part, and they're all going to be different styles. And at this point, that doesn't trigger my OCD to make everything match with the top. In fact, it feels more like a well-earned break, or like light work after a very long journey. So, and that might upset some people that were hoping to see some like bigger concepts explored, but I've done every big concept I've wanted to, and then some. And so now it's just fun to do some little one-offs, and see how it goes. Have fun with it. I'm at the place with this now where I'm ready to just have a little more fun with it, and a little less of the kind of slog of these big, elaborate undertakings, and seeing how far you can push. Now it's like, no, we know what works. Let's just do fun little tattoos. And that's what legs are for anyway. I've been saying that for years. Anyway, I'll be talking to you guys here in a couple days after my session with Rick. So have a great day.